Good evening. Tonight our speech is going to be about why we should visit Hawaii. Now I'm sure everyone here has gone on a vacation, maybe several, I know I have. But, people decide to go away from home for various different reasons and very different reasons. But there's one place that attracts so many people per year. Hawaii. With its beautiful beaches and serene water and hospitable natives, it is the perfect home away from home. And we start with the question, what is Hawaii? Obviously, it's a state. It's the 50th United States. And it grows coffee and sugar, and it has the first royal U.S. palace. It has no ethnic majorities. People come and live there from everywhere. I know my history teacher, he's from somewhere in the continental U.S., and he lived there for most of his adult life. Hawaii began around 1200 when people started to sail there. And they contacted Europe in about 1800, and we annexed them for economic gain in 1959. The economic gain was they grew sugar, and we wanted sugar.
This is the Polynesian Triangle. Hawaii is right here at the most northern part. Easter Island and New Zealand make up the other 2 points of the triangle. And Hawaii is comprised of about 132 islands, but most of those aren't able to be inhabited by humans. The 6 major islands are Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, Maui, and Hawaii. And Hawaii is the one that we think of when we think of Hawaii. It's the biggest and newest island. It has 2 active volcanoes. And Maui is sometimes called the Valley Island because most of it is situated in between 2 dormant volcanoes. And Lanai is mostly used for farming and growing pineapple. About 98% of the island is owned by the producers of Dole pineapples. And Molokai is divided between mountain ranges and plains. It's not really visited by people too much. And Oahu I've personally been to Oahu, it's a lot more commercial than the rest of the islands. There's a lot of nightlife, a lot of shopping. And Kauai is sometimes called the Garden Island. It's the oldest island, and it's very lush. The landscape is a lot different from Hawaii. Since Hawaii is the newest island, it's a lot more rocky since the volcanic eruptions were more recent. So Hawaii's had a chance to sort of grow more vegetation, and it's got a lot more wildlife. And within each island, there's an extreme variation in the landscape. You've got the sea level beaches, and then you've got giant mountain ranges, and I think the tallest one is about 13,000 feet. The islands were formed by this hot spot right here, and that's where all the volcanoes come from. And the Pacific tectonic plate is shifting that way. So as I said before, this is the newest island and this is the oldest island. So you can see how over time they've just sort of shifted that way. And there's a few more islands over in the northwestern region, but those are all submerged now, just because over the years all the erosion and shifting of the tectonic plates. And eventually all of this will be underwater too. Not for very long time, but it will be. This is Kauai, and as you can see, it's the oldest one, like I said, and it's got a lot more vegetation and landscape. It kind of looks like the Grand Canyon. There's a lot of goats that live there also. And this is the island of Hawaii, the newest one, and you can see it's a lot more rocky than Kauai was.
So now we move on to the culture of Hawaii. It's a lot like India. It's based on the class system, and it's also based on deities who have always played a really large role in the life of the Hawaiians. One form to honor the gods was the hula, or a dance seen at luau's or traditional dinners. And I'm sure everyone's heard or seen a luau or a hula because it's attractive to most tourists, and we have that.
Alright, that was some video of an amazing girl doing some amazing butt shaking. Alright, so now I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the food that Hawaii has to offer. These are the main dishes like brought to luau's and stuff. The first one would be a lomi salmon, which is a popular luau dish. It's basically just salmon cooked, but they rub like a lot of salt that comes from Hawaiian Islands. It's all hand rubbed. The second dish would be tuna poke. It's basically a sushi, and it's marinated in soy and ginger and sesame oil. And another dish they bring is called poi. It's Hawaiian's national dish. It's made from carrot roots. The reason why it's the Hawaiian national dish is because it was eaten before the cuisine was influenced by the Western world. The third one is Hawaiian bread. Hawaiian bread is like very famous in the tourists. Everyone loves Hawaiian bread, but not many know that it's actually Polynesian bread. It's not Hawaiian bread, but Hawaiian just kind of took over the name. Kamichi is another dish. It's one of the most popular side dishes at all luau's. It's Korean salted pickled cabbage. Another dish is chicken char siu, brought by the Chinese immigrants. It's normally made with baby back ribs. And then for your main course at a luau is chicken and pork. It's a national dish from the Philippines that Hawaii took over, and it's basically just a dish because it advertised to a vast majority of all the guests that are welcomed at luau's. And also oven kulau pork. It's basically roasting a whole pig over an open fire. Here's some like the most popular things to do in Hawaii. We got a lot of shops and some great dining restaurants that face over the Pacific and over huge cliffs, and a lot of them are very expensive, but they're awesome to go to. Very good food. Attend the luau, which are the dishes that I just spoke about. See the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, which is earlier in the presentation she showed a picture that looks like the Grand Canyon, but it's in Hawaii. You can also rent bikes at pretty much any place rents bikes. You can take down bike trails and go through the mountains, do mountain biking. Snorkeling is very popular because obviously the water is crystal clear in Hawaii, and you've got a vast majority of different types of fish, sharks, whales, all kinds of stuff. Surfing is like excellent in Hawaii. You can't go any place better for surfing. Whale watching, there's a lot of humpbacks and all kinds of different diverse whales. You can also just get a margarita, maybe a Corona, and go relax on any beach you want because it's beautiful. Absolutely every beach there is absolutely beautiful. They do helicopter tours where you can fly over the volcanoes and kind of see inside of the volcano where you couldn't see if you were just to walk up, so you can see the lava. And that's it for the main activities. Alright, surfing in Hawaii. It's the birthplace of surfing. The boards were invented by Polynesians that migrated to Hawaii. In the early days of surfing, you could only surf at good spots if you had money and if you were wealthy. Even if you weren't that good at surfing, just because you had money, you controlled who was there and who wasn't there. And so if the rich people wanted to surf, they didn't want anybody that wasn't rich to surf there, they weren't going to surf there. But the people that weren't wealthy enough to surf there, if they were good enough, they could eventually work their way up to surf in the good spots. Surfing was always treated as an art. It was used in many ways. At first, they used it just like planks of wood to get out to fish, to get their food, and then they figured out how to ride the planks of wood back in on a wave, and then they considered it surfing, called it surfing, and it's an art in many ways. Surfing was spread to the rest of the U.S. in about the 20th century, and Hawaii is very popular for its different spots to surf. There's a place called Pipeline in Hawaii. It's like one of the biggest contests on the U.S. Open Surf Tour. Thousands of people from all over the world, Australia, Africa. I mean, just that wave doesn't get any hollow. It's just straight barrels, and it's the best place to surf.
Another cool activity you can do in Hawaii is fishing. You got the Pacific blue marlin, the yellowfin, striped marlin, wahoo, amanita, and Hawaii is one of the places where you get most of your record fishes. They can be thousands of pounds, such as this one right here. It was about 1,600 pounds, give or take. So they get huge. It's an awesome fight. You fight them for probably like 2 or 3 hours, so it'd be tiring. So you bring your friends to you out there. Everyone gets a chance to fight it. You have a good time. Another cool thing you can do is hunting. You got the axis deer, you got the wild boar, and surprisingly goats. Now the goats are kind of like sort of a trophy hunt because you can't really hunt a goat randomly. And then same with the axis deer because they're not found everywhere. In Hawaii, they're kind of all over the place. Boar you can find anywhere, but the Hawaiian boar is more of a different breed compared to what we have here in Florida. Then you also have some game birds. You have your turkey, your blue pheasant, your ringneck pheasant, your francois, or Frank Collins I should say, and the chukar. And those basically you go out, you use a shotgun, go shoot them. And then you have snorkeling in Hawaii. And Hawaii is also has 3/4 of the coral reefs in America. There's over 5,000 species of fish, and the Big Island and Maui are one of the most superior spots for snorkeling. And the west side surprisingly are better than the east side. And I'll do a quick video on it.
filming in Hawaii. Filming is really popular in Hawaii because the producers, they can get a variety of landscapes in one place without having to travel across the country like they would if they were in the continental U.S. Like you can go from sea level on the beach to the mountaintops to the jungles of Hawaii, so they sort of get a lot of bang for their buck when they film there. Some of the more well-known movies that were filmed in Hawaii were Jurassic Park, The Descendants, 50 First Dates, Pearl Harbor, and the most recent Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I don't know if anyone knew that. It wasn't set in Hawaii, but it was filmed in Hawaii. Television shows that were filmed there, Gilligan's Island, Lost was filmed there for 6 years, and Hawaii Five-0 is currently filming there. They film mostly in Honolulu, I think. When I went there, I think we saw them shooting a couple scenes, so that was pretty cool. Oh, and I don't know if anyone saw Catching Fire this weekend. Anyone see it? Some of the scenes that they showed when they were in the arena were filmed on the North Shore and in the jungle around the North Shore. So I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know that. I found that out this weekend. This year, though, they're filming Godzilla, the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and the next Jurassic Park movie. But I found a couple clips that I thought were really cool from movies that were filmed there because they sort of highlighted the landscape.
Okay, this is it. Darking me up. Make it look good.
Okay, how do you think you can cope, please, Iron? Eat up pineapple. Help me! Ow, that's so hard. Start playing out with me. Making my sister clean your hotel room.
Okay, what does that have to do with this? Relax. Hey, help me, please.
Help me.
You got enough.
Are you okay? Okay, I'll be right back.
No, I think he's had enough. Oh, I'm sorry. You got him.
Not good enough.
He learned his lesson.
What's your name?
My name's Henry. You did.
Okay, so that was from 50 First Dates. And this is one from Jurassic Park.
It's just like fucking birds evading a predator.
They're walking this way.
Alright, so we've explained some activities, the culture, the food, the luau's, the surfing, snorkeling. There's all kinds of animals, great landscape. I just think it'd be a great place to go visit. I've never been there, but I wish I could afford it, and when I can, I'm definitely going to go. So after explaining all these activities and stuff, I think it'd be an amazing time for anybody to actually visit this place. I mean, 7 million people visit Hawaii a year, so that let alone is a pretty good accusation to tell me to go there. That's it.